Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're feeling a little different now in terms of your relationships, maybe work, maybe you're more emotional, pretty good reason for that. Astrologically, there's a lot going on, probably more than many of us have ever experienced before in a lot of regards. We're going to break that down for you today, understand it just a little bit more. And she's somebody that helps people, coaches them through many different areas: Reiki, crystal bowl sound baths, birth chart readings. Certainly, astrology is on her radar and all things spiritual. And she's the owner of Calmer Waters Coaching. Jemmy Serrato is back with us. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
I am fascinated by what we have upon us at this time. And I don't recall when Venus has been in retrograde and Mercury at the same time. Is this very unusual?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily very unusual, but it is unusual given that we're still coming out of Mars being retrograde. It's unusual for us to go right into a Venus retrograde with an upcoming Mercury retrograde, all within the same month.
Right? Yeah. And let me, if I'm correct here, the the Venus retrograde started like 6 days ago and goes to right to the basically the end of the Mercury retrograde. Now, every or most astrological accounts of my sign seems to show what sounds like good stuff. Little reflection, some answers for a lot of things. Not at all rosy picture, but like, yeah, encouraging. Is that what this is all about overall?
Well, Venus retrograde is a time where we rethink and review all things Venus. So, socializing, friendships, love relationships, and also just how we give our energy to other people and we show love as well as creativity.
Hmm. Funny you should say that because I'm at the point of reevaluating situations and relationships, like all of them, not just, close, intimate ones, but just business, casual friends, all of that. Just kind of taking a step back and looking. And I'm going to say this and it's going to sound a little self serving, but what's in it for me? And I don't know if I'm looking at it in the right way, but it just seems different now. And that comes from who you give your energy to.
Yeah. For me, I've been feeling like taking a little bit of a step back from putting out so much content, especially free content, and maybe just being a little more private and a little bit more personal with the content that I put out. And I'm considering putting some of it behind a paywall. And that's just an example of the things that we review and we look at energy exchange in relationships. It can be personal relationships, it can be our relationship with the public. But reviewing what we've been giving and what we've been getting back and how we can kind of refine that.
Is it a product of feeling like you're getting something from it as well?
Yeah, so in all relationships, we have to look at how energy is being exchanged. And part of the spiritual journey is making sure you're investing your energy into places where you're getting something back. Many of us are empaths and we have a habit of giving, 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 and not really paying attention to whether we're receiving anything back. So it's
Mm.
good to review those relationships and see how we can make them more equal from time to time.
I got you on the empath thing. It's like so many times I catch myself like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. Yeah, I'll take care of that for you. I'm like, what did I just do? What am I doing? Why say no, jerk? Like it's okay. No is a complete sentence, and it's all right. You got to realize, yes, we want to help others, but you also have to protect yourself and your energy. And as time goes on, I feel that you only have a certain amount you're allotted. Call it in a day, like a gas tank. And I start looking at it that way because sometimes at the end of the day, I'm drained, and it's like, well, who did I give to in terms of energy? Oh, I did that, or I took care of that. Well, I helped them out with that. I did, and it's after a while, it's like, what, what's left for you? Like a lot of times you feel depleted. Have you been in those situations?
Absolutely. I definitely feel like I have like a finite amount of energy. And for example, this week with my kids being home from school for spring break, a lot of more of my energy is being spent, doing housework, cleaning, cooking, doing laundry. So I have less energy to work on like my creative projects. Um,
Mm.
so we also live in a world where we are bombarded with information, and I think it's important to conserve your energy and pay attention to what areas you're giving your energy to so that you can not get drained, like you said.
I believe we don't realize focus and energy seems to be in my mind the same thing. Like you put your focus on reading stuff online, but you're really giving a little piece of your energy to it.
Yes. Even like when you wake up in the morning and you pull out your phone and you see all the emails that you got, just reading those emails and either responding to them or not responding to them, that takes a portion of your energy. So it's important to learn how to manage your energy and fine tune it, streamline it. It's important to be able to delegate and ask other people for help. Like if you are really drained and you can afford to and you want to, you can hire someone to mow your lawn instead of mowing your lawn. And that shouldn't be looked at, as being selfish or anything like that. It's taking some weight off of you so you can give your energy to the areas that are most important.
The Venus retrograde, some properties of that. I got the Mercury retrograde. A lot of us are familiar with that, and we can talk about that in a sec. But the Venus, I tap out on that one. I know nothing.
Yeah, so Venus retrograde, like when the other planets go retrograde, it's a time of reviewing and reassessing, recalibrating whatever Venus rules over in your life. So, for example, like me, Venus rules my 10th house of my public image and my interactions with the public. So, I've been feeling guided to be a little bit quieter and to kind of go within and think about how I am expressing my Venus and where I'm giving to and how I can do that in a way that will be more beneficial for me and my soul.
Wow. So if somebody were to reach out to you, you would do a birth chart or, yeah, a chart reading on them based on their date of birth, time of birth, and location. And then you could tell them, this is where I get lost. What house their sign is in. Is that right?
So Venus rolls over two zodiac signs, Taurus and Libra. So even if you don't have planets in Taurus or Libra, you will still have houses that are ruled by either Taurus or Libra. We all have all 12 signs embedded into our birth chart. So yes, if you reach out to me or another astrologer, they can let you know which areas of your life are being most impacted by each retrograde.
This confuses me. I just defer to you. Like, I get when you said the 12th, somebody told me, an astrologer told me like 4 years ago that I'm a Virgo. So something about it being in the 12th house. Um, and they said it, whatever, I'm just going by memory, that it was a good thing. Does that make sense?
I haven't looked at your birth chart in a few weeks, so I don't remember. But the 12th house has to do with a lot of different things. It can be your spirituality and your connection to God's source. It rules over things like meditation, but it can also be hidden enemies and illnesses that are long term and things like that.
So can we better navigate this Venus retrograde, even if we don't know what the house we're in and going deeper there? How would you suggest we roll?
I mean, you can get a free birth chart done on like astro.com. That's one of my favorite websites to get a basic look at your birth chart. And I think they do a little bit of free interpretation on there. But if you're not interested in going that deep into it, I would just really sit with your emotions. Remember that your emotions are messengers. So if during
Hmm.
this time you begin to feel, lonely, sad, things like that, try to look at what area of your life that emotion is trying to get you to balance things in. Venus also rules over balance. So a lot of times when we have negative emotions, it's just our psyche's way of trying to get our attention and to look at a specific issue and how can we rebalance it.
Is there concern or a positive side of Venus and Mercury going retrograde at the same time? I mean, do they work against each other? Do they complement each other?
I think they kind of go together, because if you have like a creative project, Mercury is involved too. You have Venus and Mercury involved in your creativity for sure. So they can work together to help you revise and plan how you're working on your creative project together.
Would you say that this is a good time to launch a creative project?
It could be, yeah, especially because Mars has just gone direct. We do have some leeway to start moving forward on a lot of things for sure.
Tell me more. Like I really mean that. What else can we know? What should we know? I find this fascinating.
So Venus retrograde can be a time where people feel unwanted to some degree or rejected, and it's being brought up within you so you can deal with any wounds around Venusian things. Venus rules over love, it rules over self-esteem, self-worth. A lot of times Venus retrograde, especially for women, can be a time where our pants don't fit and we're broken out and we don't feel so good about ourselves because Venus is not at its strongest when it's going in reverse, and Venus is about feeling beautiful, feeling loved, and knowing our worth. So I do like to bring that up about Venus retrograde, that if you're not feeling stellar about how you look, remember that Venus is retrograde. So it may not be you, it's really just your perception that's being affected.
See, personally, I got from that is a message for men, for the most part, that be advised that the woman in your life may be experiencing that, and just take that as some advice.
Yeah, it can be a time when women, especially because Venus is a feminine planet, they feel less secure and they may need more reassurance that they are loved, they are wanted, and they are needed because they may not be feeling the best about themselves.
This is like a secret weapon for men here. Like it really is. Hmm. Um, what else should we know?
Don't feel bad if you begin to feel like this is a time when you're really letting go of relationships that didn't serve you.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us have been dealing with that, thinking about, the relationships we've been investing in and having to set boundaries, sometimes with people we really didn't want to set boundaries with. But this can be a good time to kind of finish up that emotional healing process and make peace with relationships that you had to let go of.
This is what I'm feeling. Excuse me, what I'm feeling and wondering if it translates to the retrograde. Like I'll look at relationships and see them in a different light.
Yeah, it changes your perspective on the relationship. That's what retrogrades do. It's kind of a different perspective on a certain area of your life.
I'm seeing it. Like I will look at even a business relationship, and I might have in the past looked at somebody like, wow, they have this going on, they have that going on, and being impressed. And now I look at it as like, no, they really it's not what I thought it was. It's what they presented, but it's almost as if you peek behind the curtain and you see really what's going on there. It's like, oh, it's not what I really thought it was. And it's not me. It's not like I made it up in my mind. It's what I believed in the beginning, but now I'm seeing it for really what it is, and maybe how it can translate to my life. And again, goes right back to giving your energy, but what are you getting back from it?
Yeah, and when Venus is retrograde, sometimes we can see things better that we couldn't see when Venus was going direct.
Yes. All right. When does Venus go direct?
Okay, April 13th, it's going to go direct. So it will be retrograde for about 6 weeks. It's quite a long time. But the universe does this, it arranges this for us to help our growth. So I try not to make it like, oh no, Venus is going to be retrograde for 6 weeks, but just see it as a time where the energy of Venus, you're using it a little bit differently.
So just for everybody so they understand, when we say direct, we mean what?
So planets don't actually physically travel backwards. They appear to be traveling
Yep.
backwards based on our perspective from Earth. So it works very much on the subconscious mind. We're always being affected by the planetary bodies in the solar system. And
Mm.
when they're retrograde, they function more on an internal level instead of external.
Interesting you said that. I never even thought of that, how it is or can affect your subconscious. Hmm.
Yeah, if you think of like the full moon, if you're someone who's ever worked as a nurse or as a police officer, what happens during the full moon? People become very emotional. Most of our bodies are made of water,
Yep.
so the effect that the full moon and the new moon has on us is very real.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, the changing of the tides, all of that that's going on. And we have a full moon that's coming up as well. And two, I'm not sure what kind, but two eclipses on the way too during this whole period. Am I getting that right? I don't know.
Yes, March 14th, which is right around the time of this next Mercury retrograde, will be a total lunar eclipse in Virgo, 24 degrees of Virgo. So if you have planets in the late degrees of Virgo, you'll probably definitely feel it.
Wonderful. And that eclipse is taking place at the very beginning of that retrograde.
Yeah, Mercury retrograde officially begins on the 15th. The eclipse is on the 14th, but like a full moon, an eclipse, you can feel it probably 3 days before and 3 days after. So it's definitely in that window of time.
That being said, with retrogrades, especially Mercury post and pre phase, I never know. I always wonder how far before and after there will be an effect. Do you know?
So that's called the shadow period. So, for example, Venus is going to go direct around April 13th, but it will remain in shadow until May 16th, which means it won't reach the point where it started to retrograde and return to that point until May 16th. So we will still feel some of the effects. Like, for example, Mars right now is very much in its shadow period because it's gone direct, but it will be quite a while before it returns to the point it was at the beginning of its retrograde.
And for Mercury, same kind of deal. Like, is it 5 days, 10 days before and after?
I didn't write down for my ephemeris when the shadow period for Mercury retrograde is. I do see it's going to be from March 15th until April 7th. At
Well,
that point, it will go direct. So it's retrograde for 3 weeks, and it could be a couple weeks after that that's still in shadow. The shadow period for Mercury is not quite as long as for the other planets because Mercury moves quite quickly.
okay. And then that goes in line with what you're talking about in terms of Venus and its retrograde. Yeah, it's much longer.
Yes, Venus has quite a long shadow period, as does Mars. Mars is going to leave its shadow period on May 2nd. So, May, we're probably going to see a lot of changes in our lives and in the collective because there are some major transits that are kind of over in May, which is kind of like the green light. When all the planets are direct at the same time, it's like God's giving the green light and everything moves forward a lot quicker.
I heard the same thing. Like May's going to be best description, just a better feeling time and a time of renewal, a time of almost like that feeling on a spring day, like it's so nice. The weather's nice. See a couple of buds. You know, the some of the flowers are coming up. The birds are singing. It just seems like we'll be out of the of the thick of it, if you will.
Yeah, we should be out of the woods around May. I think most of the really difficult transits will be over. And that will be nice because we'll be able to make a lot more quicker forward progress on all the things that we're working on.
I appreciate and respect your knowledge of all of this.
Thank
Like
you.
I really do. It's again, I get confused. I'm just, retrograde. I get it, but all that house and the sign and all of that, Would you say, with what's coming up, with these two retrogrades and even Mars, all of that, would you say it's a more concerning astrological time than usual? Because I remember like a year or two ago, there was one situation where it's like, whoa, we got a lot going on here. What are your thoughts overall?
I would say this year in general, 2025, is going to be extremely impactful on the collective consciousness because there are so many planets going through these retrogrades, and then we have outer planets that are changing signs. So I really see this as a very pivotal year as far as the global shift, the global awakening, as
Mm.
well as in our personal lives.
You said awakening, and before you said it, I was thinking of saying we're going to wake up.
Yeah, the more I immerse myself in the world of spirituality, now that I've made it like my profession and everything, I can really see how the global awakening is happening and how there are so many people looking and seeking answers and trying to figure out where they fit into the big picture and what their purpose is, and all of us kind of becoming aware of our purpose and why we are here.
And for those that haven't really grasped the term spirituality, to your point, I feel like more and more people, those in my circles talk to, that they've got an eye on it. Like there's something, something out there. Yeah, it's interesting. And they might not jump into the water, but they're looking at the water whereby previously it was not even on their radar, not even giving it a thought. Um, Maybe that's just the awareness, like you said, the collective, like we're all kind of coming together a little bit more. Do I don't do politics, but do you feel with what's going on in the United States politically, it's all falling into place in terms of the planets, the alignment, the astrology?
I do. I feel like there's a big cleanup going on as Neptune transits these final degrees of Pisces. It's kind of like a cleanup cruise here. And just as we each individually work on our limiting beliefs and the things in our lives we need to change, we're seeing that reflected on a grand scale as bigger political shifts and things are happening that reflect the changes we're making internally.
Do you personally, with your knowledge of all of this, and you apply it to your life, do you ever get worried? Do you ever look at it like, "Ooh, whoa, that's I'm a little concerned deep inside."
I wouldn't say anymore that I get worried. I think I used to have more fear and worry about the future and what was going to happen. But lately, from what I see with my third eye, it's like the vibration keeps going up and more, corruption and things like that is being revealed. And that's allowing us to raise our vibration. And it's like the hundredth monkey syndrome kind of thing.
Mhm.
So as one person figures something out in their life and they progress and they up level, everybody around them is affected by it. So I really see a positive future for us. I'm not scared at all anymore of the global awakening.
Do you feel that once you have this kind of knowledge, the spiritual side of things, and anybody can reach out to you, and I'm sure you can walk them through it, help them understand. You almost feel as if it's, like the proverbial head in the sands, where it's almost as if you poke your head out and it's just like, wow, I feel enlightened. I feel more aware. I feel maybe more calm because now I'm seeing things for what they are.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to keep their head in the sand
Yeah.
for sure because it's easier to stay in the life that they're in and not have to make any changes. But for me, I'm a seeker of knowledge. So I will always be trying to get my head out of the sand and see, oh, what was I missing? What was the illusion I was caught in? And I'm always wanting to see more and expand my vision and see more clearly.
Illusion. That's a great word. And what I said before in terms of assessing relationships, we have illusions. You want to see what you want to see, but that's not really reality a lot of times. And with this shift right now, I believe we're seeing the truth. Like we're seeing it for what it really is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's maybe even government. I don't know. But it just seems like it's clear. It's the picture came in clearer. Like it was a little foggy before, but now it seems like a little more crystal clear.
Yeah, what I heard was that the collective consciousness as a whole no longer supports illusions. So anyone who has been creating an illusion to maintain any type of power or money or resources, people are beginning to see through those illusions. And of course, a lot of people are threatened by this. But ultimately, we as the people are more powerful than any one person who's trying to hold on to power or control through a type of an illusion.
And even in relationships, like you're seeing it for what it really is now, as opposed to
Yes.
what you thought it was or what you were maybe led to believe in all of
Yes,
that.
as we do that on a personal level with our personal relationships and we dispel illusion, again, it happens on a grander scale.
Yep. Fascinating. Thank you for helping us understand this a little bit more. I know
Mhm.
it's a little wonky. The best thing is have your chart read. Have somebody reach out to you. This is what you do, and you support in many different areas. Tell everybody your website.
www.calmerwaterscoaching.com.
Thank you so much for today, Jamie. Check and double check during the retrograde. I always say that. You want to be sure of the texts, the emails you send, your technology all backed up, and we'll catch up next time.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.